The Westside Nut Club Fall Festival is just around the corner, but that is not the only event to be excited about this fall. We wanted to take some time to discuss some of the fun-filled events happening here within our local community in the next month or so. That's next on WNIN Newsmakers. There are so many great events for our community to enjoy this fall. Lots of local art and food and music. Well, here to talk about Parks Fest is one of its organizers, Zach Evans. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
So explain to us, what exactly is Parks Fest and how did it come about?
Sure. So Parks Fest is a community music festival. It takes place annually at Garvin Park. This year it is Saturday, October 1st. Basically, Parks Fest is just a way to get the community involved in art and music and food for free. There's no barrier of entry. You can come and go as you please. It was formed in 2014 by Alex Maurer.
Oh, okay.
And it was basically kind of like in response to that old survey about Evansville being like the most miserable place to live. I don't know if you remember that one. Yeah. Classic. But so Alex decided, well, I want to do something, show off the beauty of Garvin Park and have some music, because there's really nothing better than a shared music experience, right, or like a shared experience in general. Mm-hmm. So you bring a few thousand people together for a free concert. It's pretty magical.
Yeah, and you've been involved pretty much since its inception, correct?
Well, I've been helping Alex in 2014, 15, and 16 when he did it with some of the music planning in terms of bouncing bands off. And then 2018, Nathan Yoko and I took over the directing of it. Mm-hmm. And this year, I've been leading the charge for the 2022, the 7th annual Parks Fest, which is crazy, 7 of these.
Right. Mm-hmm. So tell us, did the pandemic affect this at all? I know it's an outdoor music festival. Did you have a little hiccup there, and now are people ready to and roaring to get back, or what?
For sure, yeah, we did. In 2020, we took a break like everyone else did in the entertainment industry. We had to, even though it was outdoors, it just didn't feel right. To be able to secure the health of every performer and worker and volunteer, and of course concert goer. So we just took a break. 2021, we came back strong with some great entertainment. And this year, we're just going to keep plowing through. I think people are, especially again, ready just to really get together and united and just enjoy some, free food and music. Well, not free food, free music.
Right. So to your point, is what can people expect if they decide to attend Parks Fest? Give us kind of an idea of what the setup is and what activities are there and things like that.
Yeah, so you walk into Parks Fest, you're going to have music from 1 p.m. till 10 p.m. all day, nonstop. We have 2 stages, so one band's playing and then the next band's standing up, so there's just music all day. There's also kids activities brought to us by the EVPL. So there's full programming of kids activities, and there's also going to be bounce houses, and there'll be art vendors. There'll be about 20 art vendors, and there'll be about a dozen food trucks brought to us by the Evansville Food Truck Association. So a little bit of everything. Activities, music, food, and hopefully great weather and a nice park.
Wonderful. And you mentioning weather, do you have a rain type of, do you do rain or shine, or is there a rain plan, or what happens there?
Well, it's basically rain or shine, but for those who don't know, in 2018, we brought the event into Old National Events Plaza at the very last second because of a deluge of rain that was coming off a hurricane. And we moved it inside. I don't think we'll be anticipating that this year. The weather looks good, but you never know what's going to happen. But it's rain or shine. Just wear a rain jacket and hang out. If it's not lightning, there's going to be music.
Wonderful. Well, what should people bring? So if I want to come with my family, I've got a couple of kids. Do I need to bring a lawn chair? I know this is out on the library lawn, correct? Blankets, things like that. What should people bring?
I would bring you a good grass blanket to lay on, or basic lawn chairs. And then bring some cash. We'll have ATMs there, but all the vendors will probably appreciate cash or card to buy something from, and really just come ready to have a good time, because we have a beer garden there. We have all the food, so you can bring some stuff, but it's all there, and it all goes to local organizations that live and work here. So if you spend your dollar there, it's going to just get circled to the community. So
wonderful. Well, what kind of lineup are we looking at in terms of music for this year?
Sure. So we got a little bit of everything for everyone, I think. The headliner is Mock Orange, who were a big alt indie Midwest kind of emo band in the 90s and still are a huge thing. They just did a recent tour of Japan because they have a huge base in Japan.
Wow.
Mock Orange, then we get some kind of metal band, Fairy Ring, and then we have Cynthia Watson and the End Times, which is kind of this jammy, soulful act, and we got Soul in the Pocket, which is pure soul. We've got Georgia Funkadelic, which, as the name might imply, it's pretty funky.
Yeah.
You got Cage Willis, who's very bluesy. Latasha Shimwell, who's all soul too. Just a lot of great acts coming. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
So what goes into planning an event like this, especially getting together all these different acts and coordinating schedules? Just help us understand really the labor of love, because this is all volunteer run, correct?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Everyone who's involved with the planning and execution of Parks Fest does so because they want to see the event happen. So it just takes a lot of players from the top down, for me, through everyone that helps out. It's just a lot of coordinating and planning, and just it's a little bit of controlled chaos. Anybody who does events, I think, understands that. Like, it looks like maybe it's put together, and it really is, but also there's just a little bit of that fun third variable that it just kind of happens and it all just works out.
Right, it's kind of free-flowing too, correct?
Yeah, that's part of the fun, it's the energy of it.
You just kind of go with the flow, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of crowds have you had in the past, and how can we get people out to really appreciate this? Because without an entry fee, you can just come by and see if you like it and then move on if you don't, right?
Exactly, yeah. Since 2014, we calculated that we've probably had about 35 to 40,000 people come through the Parks Fest gates to see the music and the art and just to experience the park for Parks Fest. Wow. So this year we hope to have a few thousand people to keep that number going, because it's just a great opportunity to have a nice fall Saturday. Today, when we're recording this, it's going to be like 98 degrees. When people are watching this, I think it'll be a nice fall day. So
wonderful.
Hopefully we keep that nice fall weather all the way through Parks Fest.
Well, you're also involved with the Southwest Indiana Arts Council.
Sure.
What types of events do they have going on this fall?
Well, this fall, our big one is the Arts Awards. So that's the annual event. It's kind of our main fundraiser, but it's also an opportunity for artists and art supporters to be recognized for their work in the community. There's not a lot of awards that highlight the work of artists, right, especially in Evansville, and we're one of the few that do it. And it's always nice to be able to highlight the great visual artists, the great performing artists, the people who've really also put their money where their mouth is about wanting to support and see a vibrant art city. Sure. So we honor those people as well. It's that Art Awards is October 22nd at Doubletree by Hilton. Okay. And you can find out more information at artswin.org, artswin.org. Some other things happening. We have a Halloween exhibit in October, so come by our gallery at 212 Main Street, downtown Evansville, and see some cool spooky art.
Great.
Some other events to plug, if I can plug a few that we're also supporting. We have a grant that is supporting the Lincolnshire Front Porch Festival, which is October 2nd, the day after Parks Fest. That's Sunday, that's all day in the Lincolnshire neighborhood, which is the area around Bosse High School. Mm-hmm. And then there's the first Friday at Haney's Corner on October 7th.
All right. No one can complain that nothing's happening in Evansville.
Right. I think you know that, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Zach. We appreciate all the information.
Well, thank you all.
Well, and here's a look at some other local events that are coming up. The biggest event locally, fall or otherwise, is of course the West Side Nut Club's Fall Festival. And here to tell us what to expect this year is Brian Woods, publicity chair for this year's festival. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Amy.
Of course, it's such a well-known event, but last year you celebrated a big milestone. So tell us about the big milestone from last year, how you're coming off of that, and really how did all this get started?
Sure, so this is our 101st annual Fall Festival. The origins started way back in 1921, obviously, and a group of folks came together and decided they wanted to really have, it was more or less a food contest and so on and so forth. And Obviously, it's much changed over 100 years.
Right.
Naturally, the food booths are still around. We've got about 130 that are lined up for this year so far. So we're excited for that. But obviously, last year, like you said, it was our 100th annual. This year, it's much of the same. Obviously, the half pot is back. All of the rides, all of the food booths are going to be back. And I think everybody's excited to get back on Franklin Street.
Yeah, I think the pandemic, of course, everybody's excited to get back to normal. What did you see in terms of the reaction in terms of the pause, and then coming back last year, and what you expect in terms of crowds and things like that for this year?
Sure. So we did have to pivot over the last couple of years. You know, in 20, we more or less did a drive-through half pot to try to still be able to generate some income for us to be able to give back to the community. 2021 and our 100th last year, we saw some levels of going back to what we were used to prior to the pandemic. And I think this year it's the overall sentiment is everybody's really excited. We're seeing a lot of booths come back down that maybe took a year off, or they're co-oping with another group, or so on and so forth. So I really think everybody's excited to get back down on Franklin Street.
Oh yeah, that's great news. It's highly anticipated. And another thing that was highly anticipated, I think you guys released your Munchie map not too long ago, right? So
We
if
did.
people are already trying to plan what fried food or unique food they're going to get, they can go ahead and get that information, can't they?
They can go to any of our social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and that'll take them right to the Munchie map for this year. But that is very exciting. It's a very exciting time. Everybody wonders when that Munchie map is going to be released.
You got to plan your route, right?
Apparently so, yeah. I guess going back to our founding fathers, though, that was, where this all originated from. Was a
Right.
kind of a food festival. So.
Yeah, so you have to. So if you know you're going for lunch one day, you got to get this, and you got to make sure to get over to the next booth for dinner the next night, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
I got to give a lot of credit to the street concessions chairman for that. They did a fabulous job on, and that Munchie map seems like it's a task in and of itself. And those folks have really worked hard to try to get that as accurate as possible. And those deadlines are due in the summer of this year. So some of these booths, I mean, they need to know exactly what's going on 5-6 months ago in order to be in the Munchie map. So they did a great job this year. Obviously, I think there was 67-ish additions or
Nice.
of new items that are out there. Obviously, a lot of the same, some of the familiar ones. And right now we do have a Munchie Madness bracket going on.
Awesome, awesome.
So it's been that's been fun to watch on Twitter as well.
Oh yeah. So the way people can get involved, and of course, this event has evolved to be all about community good, because that's what the West Side Nut Club, the Nut Club itself is about, community good, and these are nonprofit booths. So tell us more about the nonprofits that get involved, that are raising money, how much money this raises, and then how you give this back to our community.
Sure. So you're exactly right. It doesn't just stop with the West Side Nut Club. You can look at all of these. There are approximately 130 non-for-profit booths. This may and likely does serve as a lot of those organizations' only fundraiser for the year. So the impact that, just that we have, but it goes further beyond that, because the amount of money that these booths make down there a lot of times serves for funds that they'll use throughout the year.
Right.
Additionally, our Big Founders Day is in May of every year, and this past May we celebrated our 100th year. We went over the benchmark of $8 million lifetime of giving back
That's
to the
amazing.
community. So that is something we ought to really be proud about.
yes.
And certainly we wouldn't be here with a lot of the things that we've done, but obviously the half pot has helped, take us to the next milestone. And, the support, the community comes down, and every single year, it's fascinating to watch for the entire week.
Most definitely, because half pot is a great chance to try and win something, but people need to understand that you are then taking your half of the half pot and investing it into wonderful organizations in our community, right?
Absolutely. We were fortunate enough to give back to nearly every school in the city last year. I mean, it is just phenomenal to see, and our giving has gone up as well from a dollar standpoint, and we're afforded to do so with obviously the rides and concessions and stuff that we make from that standpoint. But But obviously the half pot is, like you alluded to, half of it goes to the winner and half of it comes back to us so we can give out to the community.
So if somebody, by any chance, has not been to the Westside Nightclub Fall Festival in the past, tell us what they can expect and some of the big events that happen throughout the week, like the Queen contest and things like that.
Sure thing. So obviously every night we have entertainment. There's bands that are lined up for the entire week of the festival, and that happens either on this Bossy Foundation stage on stage 1 or the second stage on the opposite side of the street. There's also amateur hour that is, local groups that get together, whether it's dancing or singing or doing it individually or so on and so forth. That happens every night. The Queen and King contest is Tuesday night. Tug of War is Monday night. There's just there's something probably every single night down there. And obviously, who can forget all of the food booths up and down the street, right?
Lighthouse Parade, Pet Parade. I'm just thinking of all the parades.
Main Parade, yeah, we have a lot of it covered.
Yeah, exactly. So if someone is looking to come down, help them understand what they can expect. Of course, parking sometimes kind of tough. What are the best hours, that you would suggest to come? Those some little bit logistic things.
Sure. So generally, the food booths and the food booths open daily at 11 o'clock, and that starts Monday, October the 3rd, and runs through Saturday, October the 9th. We do have a special Family Day matinee on Sunday, October the 2nd, where just the kiddie rides are open. None of the food booths are open. We actually, as the Nut Club, we sell hamburgers and hot dogs for a very reasonable dollar. And people can come down there and enjoy maybe a little smaller crowd sizes on that Sunday, especially in the kiddie park. But then also the rides open generally 2 o'clock early in the week, and then Thursday, Friday, they start opening up a little earlier, about noon. There's also something that we haven't touched on. It's Special Kids Day. Special Kids Day is Tuesday, October the 4th. This is, I think, the 35th or 36th year, and it is just a fascinating event to watch take place. There's probably 500-ish kids that all have special needs from around the area that are all coming down there, and we really just kind of allow them to go to play the park games, to ride the rides. There's a ton of volunteers, both from a Nut Club perspective, but also the sponsors. Berry Global is out there, Ruler Foods, Schnucks, Indiana Members Credit Union. All of those sponsors help make that day possible.
Great.
And it is just a fascinating day to watch.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Brian, for all the information. We hope it's a very successful Fall Festival again this year.
Sure thing. Thanks, Amy.
Well, and here's a look at some other local events that are coming up. Now joining us is Adam Trinkle of downtown Evansville to talk about their events for this fall. Welcome, Adam.
Good to see you, Amy.
Well, first, tell us about downtown Evansville. What's the purpose of downtown Evansville? When were you created? Kind of give us a little bit of background before we get into the fun stuff.
Sure. So downtown Evansville is what we go by really on a public platform. This is our logo, of course, but we're actually the Downtown Evansville Economic Improvement District. So kind of wordy. Naturally, we shortened it to Downtown Evansville. Yeah. But what we are is we're an economic improvement district, and we're funded primarily by the property owners within the central business district of downtown. So what does all that mean? So they pay an assessment on their parcels, on their properties each year, and that goes to fund the majority of our work. And really, in essence, our work is focused into 3 different areas. We focus on business recruitment and development. So how do we make downtown an attractive place where businesses want to come and existing businesses want to grow? And then the second part is clean, safe, and beautification efforts. So when you come downtown, you don't see litter. That's because we contract through Keep Evansville Beautiful, and they pick up the litter. We have a crew out there 5 days a week. Last year alone, they picked up over 6,700 bags of litter in the downtown area. And they're also responsible for planting trees, planting flowers. We planted hundreds of flowers in the downtown area last year. We also do additional safety patrols. Downtown is a very safe area of our community, but we do know there's studies out there, and just also people feel safer when they see the presence of a police officer. So we, when there's large events at the Ford Center or the Victory Theater or the Old National Events Plaza, or just a lot of activity downtown, we do those extra patrols throughout the year. And then probably the third and most visible thing that people know us for is our events and marketing efforts. So, our mission is to build a more active and inclusive downtown Evansville. And what does that look like? It looks like creating opportunities for people to come downtown and give them really exciting and engaging experiences, and that's where really our event efforts come in to focus.
Sure, and bringing all those people downtown then generates more revenue for the downtown businesses, and it just really builds on each other, right?
Exactly. So all of our events that we do about 12 events throughout the year. They all have a very specific focus at their core. For example, we just did a dog day earlier this month, and we have a growing residential population downtown. As we get more apartments and more condominiums that are built downtown, we have more residents. Many of those residents have pets, and a lot of them have dogs. So it was really natural for us to do that event. It was a very unique, there's one of its kind really for our community. I think you actually came one of the years we had it. So you know how special and unique that event is, and that's why we just love our events. They're a lot of fun, but they really are designed with a very intentional focus behind each one of them.
Yeah, very purposeful. So tell us about some of the things that are coming up in this fall.
Yeah, so later this month on Friday, September 30th, our wildly popular wine walk returns. This is an event, it's in its 5th year, so it's Friday, September 30th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. And going back to kind of the purpose behind this event is to really introduce, in some cases, or reintroduce to people all of our businesses downtown. We have 30 plus shops and 40 plus restaurants. So how do we think of creative and unique ways to get people to come down and visit those attractions? So the wine walk is something we started. It's continued to grow. I think we started back in 2017, and it's grown. The audience has grown 8-fold since then. So we're over 1,000 attendees now. What we do is there's a couple different parts of it. We partner with Oliver Winery out of Bloomington, Indiana. Of course, they're known for their brand visibility and their sweet wines, and they just have a really phenomenal product. So they come down, they set up on 2 blocks of Main Street. This on September 30th, we're going to do it on the 400 and 500 blocks of Main Street, and guests buy a ticket. A ticket will get them 3 tickets to sample 4 different 3 4-ounce pours of wine. It's $20 now, or it's $30 24 hours before the event. And we do live music. We have a boarding pass where we encourage people to go around to about 12 shops on that boarding pass and get a stamp. And it's really just designed to get them into the stores. And hopefully they buy something that night. If not, at the very least, they go back home and they tell their friends and family, hey, there's this really cool shop that opened in downtown Evansville. You should check it out.
So if someone's interested in the wine walk, do they go to your website, or how can they get those tickets?
That's the easiest way. Just go to downtownevansville.com, or you could even just literally get on a search platform like Google and type in Downtown Evansville Wine Walk, and it will pop up and you can buy your tickets. The event does usually sell out, so we encourage the community to buy your tickets now.
Yeah.
You'll save money, and you can ensure they have a ticket.
Don't wait till the last minute like we like to do, right?
Yeah, we know Evansville is a very last minute, and I think it probably is in other cities too.
Very
but we always get a little anxious when we used to do this because the ticket sales just dramatically increase like 48 hours before the event. So.
Most definitely. So tell us what's happening in October, because you've got some really cool events coming up that month too.
Yeah, in October we really kind of shift to a family focus. We have 2 really unique events. We have the Noco Makers Market, which is in its 5th year, and I think people are still learning about it. It's an event that we do this year it's Sunday, October 16th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and it's over on Carpenter Street, which it's the only time of the year that we actually host an event on Carpenter Street, and some people probably still don't even know where Carpenter Street is.
Right.
But if you...
Where the old WNIN was, right?
Exactly. It's a good tie back to WNIN.
Yeah.
But really, that is a very important part of downtown. So when the Downtown Evansville Master Plan was updated in 2016, prior to that, I think it had been about 20 years since the Master Plan had been revised, and that's really a document that should be every 10 years or so looked at and revised. But that master plan specifically called for a couple things. One was the formation of the EID, which we're happily in our 5th year now. Right. And then one of the other things was to really establish the area north of Court Street in downtown Evansville as a space for makers. And so that's where the Noco name comes from. It stands for North of Court Street. And so we do this event on Carpenter Street, and really it's to celebrate local makers in our community. We have about 40 plus makers, so you're going to see everything from hand-woven rugs to soaps to apple cider to jewelry to honey. All these local makers from our community who bring their products to this event and they sell them there. And then the second part of that is we do a free pumpkin patch where we give away over 200 pumpkins to kids in attendance, face painting, a beer garden, food trucks, just a really family-friendly atmosphere.
Great. So local artisans buy local, right?
Yes, yeah.
Buy local, because we want to support our local artists and our local artisans. But then we move into more Halloween time. So tell us about
Yeah. So
October.
we started this event last year. It's called our Halloween Stroll and Trunk or Treat Car Show. It's kind of a mouthful. But that event is returning. It was wildly popular. We wanted to create an experience where families, and really multi-generational, because that's why the car show, maybe the older folks enjoy the car show, the young families want to do the trick-or-treating. That's coming back. It's on Saturday, October 29th. It's on Main Street. Over 30 businesses participate. You can walk around and get candy. We're going to have costume characters, just cars up and down Main Street from 2nd to 6th Street. So it really is just a very fun, family-friendly event. We do it earlier in the day because we know that a lot of families and people, they like to go in their neighborhoods later in the evening. So we just want to invite the community to both of those events in October. They are free to attend. We talk a lot about how we are constantly working to make sure that downtown is a place for everyone, and we have to act upon that mission. So we provide these experiences for families and just all people to come and enjoy our downtown.
Well, and we've been saying, sometimes we hear that, oh, there's nothing to do in Evansville, but there really is, and there's really been a resurgence of downtown. I mean, we're seeing more restaurants and more businesses and things like that, and more events. So even people from the outer parts of Vanderburgh County and other counties should come in and partake, right?
Absolutely, and really one of the best ways you can find out what's going on just on a weekly basis downtown, because there are events ranging from the concerts at the large venues to even trivia nights and karaoke at some of our establishments. You can go to our Facebook page, our Instagram page, Downtown Evansville, Indiana, and we really recap all the weekly events. I think this week alone there's like 30 plus events downtown. Now some are small, some are large, but that's really the special part of downtown.
Something for everyone. Right?
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much, Adam. We
Thank
appreciate your time and information. And once again, and lastly, here are some more events that are happening in our area. Thanks again to all of our guests for joining us to discuss the ways our community can enjoy the fall. Next week, we'll be talking about the details of the student loan debt relief package that was just enacted. Thanks for watching WNIN Newsmakers.